Welcome into Power 4 Picks brought to you by Better and Green. We have week 4 of college football. Another exciting week. We are kind of starting to get into conference play as well. So not as many out of conference games, which for us makes it a little easier to bet and predict when it's, known opponents and the spreads aren't 40 points. So I'm excited for this week. It's not the greatest slate once again. We will have, I think next week is absolutely fantastic. That's like the one I've seen a lot of tweets of. Shout out to all the people having weddings on I think it's like the 28th or something, because it is a phenomenal weekend in college football. But this is still a decent week. We have 3 ranked games. We have 2 other big games we're going to talk about as well. Quick recap last week on our show, not the greatest. Ethan, you went unfortunately 1-4, and I went 2-3. We both lost Georgia by the hook. But the good thing is, I said on the show, and I believe I said on a couple other things, but I didn't like the big games, and I actually had a crazy week in college football last Saturday. I went up 11 units in college football. So even though on the show I went 2-3, just shows you don't always have to bet the good games, even though they are fun to watch and you want to have some action in it. Sometimes it's just hard to find a side. So there are a couple bets that I do like on these 5 games we're going to talk about. Not going to bet them all. But this is what we do. We just break down the best matchups. Hopefully you guys can get a little prediction from that. But Ethan, welcome. How'd you do last weekend, and how are you feeling about week 4 college football?
Yeah, the 1-4, that's news to me. I had no idea I did that bad on the show, because I was up like 3 units in college football last week. So I guess it's the complete flip from last year, where I was going 4-1 on the show, losing 5 units in the weekend. So yeah, but same thing. I didn't love the big games last week. I don't love the big games this week. There's almost no chance that I will have any action on any of the ranked games that we're talking about. They might as well be the Georgetown versus Brown game for all I care. It's like I don't have a read on them whatsoever. So, but yeah, it was a good weekend in college football. I'm up units on the year, which is much better than where I was last year at this time. But yeah, I really, as college football gets going deeper into the season, that's really where I start to do my best work, especially once we get into like conference championships and the playoff. Now that we have the 12-team playoff, I mean, that's like taking candy from a baby. That was extremely profitable last year. So just trying to really stay afloat for the first 4 or 5 weeks or so. Well, about 3 or 4 weeks, and then really starts to ramp up from there. But one play I really like, we're going to talk about, a couple of leans, but kind of same as you, making money outside of the ranked TV games.
Yeah. Again, make sure you do follow both of us on Twitter, eBainbridge26 and @WorstBets. That's where we post all of our official plays. Again, we just want to talk about the top matchups, but our official plays will be posted on Twitter, usually the day of the game. One future I quickly want to touch on, because I did just place it. I absolutely love the spot. I have Notre Dame to make the playoffs. It's like plus 215, 220, something like that. If you go ahead and look at Notre Dame's schedule, I thought they definitely had a chance to go undefeated. I know they had 2 ranked games to start their season, and unfortunately they dropped both those ranked games. But Notre Dame plays absolutely no one for the rest of the year. So Notre Dame, a 10-2 Notre Dame is going to be sitting there at the College Football Playoff Committee. And let's be honest, they made it to the national championship game last year. They're going to put them in. So if Notre Dame finishes 10-2, which if they don't, then they're trash. They will be making the playoffs. So I locked that in plus 2 something. But just a little future to keep in mind. I think it's a really good buy low spot on Notre Dame. But let's get into our first game of the weekend. Again, this is one of the 3 ranked games, a Big 12 matchup. Number 17, Texas Tech at number 16, Utah. Utah is a 3-point favorite. Over under is 56.5. Ethan, I'll send it to you first for the Big 12.
Yeah, this is probably my least favorite game on the board here, so I'm going to keep it really short. 2 3-0 teams. It's their first real test. Texas Tech is beat up on Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State. Utah's beat up on UCLA, who is terrible, Cal Poly, and Wyoming. So I have no idea what to make of these 2 teams. They haven't been tested yet against anybody. For the show, I'm going to lean on Utah here. I think Utah coming into the season, I thought Utah was probably the better team. I currently think Utah is going to end with a better season. And this is Texas Tech's first road trip of the season. They've played all their 3 games at home. Utah is 2-0 on the road. They did have the 1 home win against Cal Poly, but I'll give the slight edge to Utah because they're home. But honestly, not a clue what to do with this game. No chance I'm betting it. no lean on the total, hardly a lean on the side, but Utah for the show.
Yeah, I'm right there with you with the confidence being pretty low for this game. I will just say I did pick Utah as my dark horse to win the Big 12, and I was very low on Texas Tech ahead of the season. So I'm just going to continue that gut play. Texas Tech was ranked. I think they're 23 to start the season. Utah was not. Utah has been clobbering teams and has gotten themselves up to 16. Their little quarterback's not that bad of a player. He's a very fun guy to watch. But I'm just going to keep leaning on that preseason prediction. And I just think Utah is a better team. I'll take them at home. But again, not a game I'm interested in betting. I don't have a great read. I am kind of interested in that total at the 56.5. This does kind of feel like it could be a notorious high-scoring Big 12 matchup, like we've seen it so many, or Big 12 high-scoring games that we've seen so many times in the past. But this is to me, it's the best game at noon. I'm just going to put it on TV and just enjoy it. I'll be rooting for Utah, but probably will not be having any money on that game. Let's move down to the 3:30 game. We'll continue on our ranked matchup. We have an SEC matchup here. This is number 22 Auburn at number 11 Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 7-point favorite at home, over under 46.5. Little bit of a story here. Auburn's quarterback, Arnold, was an Oklahoma quarterback for the last 2 or 3 years. So a revenge spot for him. And Oklahoma has looked fantastic on the year. So I'm really having trouble with this one. I will say I did parlay. I wanted to take Duke. We're not going to talk about the Duke game because it's bad. I couldn't find a better spot than the -3. So I actually took Duke money line, and I did parlay that with Oklahoma money line. Knowing that parlay, my sharp play of Duke's going to hit, Oklahoma is going to be a sweat. So again, not a great read on this game, but I am going to take a shot on Auburn at the +7. Again, people are seeing Oklahoma. They saw them spank Michigan around. John Mateer is phenomenal, one of the Heisman front runners right now for Oklahoma. But I'll take a shot on Auburn just to be pesky and stay close in this game. I think they might have a chance to win it at the end. I know this is going to be an absolute sweat since I have Oklahoma money line. And of course, Duke's probably going to win easily and cover that spread. So I'll be kicking myself for not just taking Duke straight up. But I think Oklahoma wins it. But give me Auburn to keep it close. Give me Auburn +7. How about you?
I'm in the same boat, and I actually like this one even less than I like Utah. So that tells you how confident I am here. But lean Auburn plus the 7. I'm not yet bought into Oklahoma. I guess I shouldn't say they haven't impressed me. They did get the win over Michigan, but I think it was a good spot for Oklahoma. They got your quarterback, can't think of his name, Underwood in his first career road start, college game day, night game down in Oklahoma. I mean, it was a tough game, but I'm not that high on Michigan, to be honest. So it's, I don't know. We were both on Temple last week, so Oklahoma blows them out. The cover wasn't even close. So, I guess I should be a little bit more impressed with Oklahoma than I am, but Auburn, I mean, I still have sour taste in my mouth from Auburn just over the years. They just haven't been a good team in the past 5 years or so with Peyton Thorne mostly at quarterback. But yeah, we get the interesting storyline with Arnold back at Oklahoma. I actually think the best win between the two teams, it's debatable, but I think Auburn winning opening game Friday night at Baylor. I think that was a pretty big win, winning by 14 there. I'll lean Auburn getting the points. They do have a really tough schedule up. They have Oklahoma, obviously, then 10th ranked A&M, 5th Georgia, 23rd Missouri. So I kind of do like to look at that team starting a schedule like that where, if you can get that first win off your back, it makes it a lot easier to go play those next 3 really tough games. Oklahoma, they have nobody on deck. Kent State might as well be a bye week for them before they face Texas. So no look ahead spot or anything for Oklahoma. Slightly in on Auburn, but no chance about that game.
Yeah, there's no way Auburn's going to be ranked at the end of the year. And even for how good Oklahoma looked, I agree they did play a Michigan team that was highly unprepared for that. Michigan played to not get blown out, and they still kind of kept it close, but Oklahoma dominated that. But it wasn't a fantastic win. And I know Oklahoma's getting some hype, but they still got to play some of these big old SEC schools, and I just don't know if they can compete. So I wouldn't be surprised if both of these teams aren't in the rankings at the end of the year. And we see it so many times with Oklahoma falling apart mid-season, late season. and getting out of the rankings. So 11, I think, is about going to be the highest Oklahoma gets. Maybe with the win this week, they could maybe get to the top 10, but this is probably their top of the season. So yeah, looking to fade kind of both teams, but yeah, hoping Oklahoma wins outright, but Auburn on the spread here. Now let's talk about go ahead.
I was just gonna say Oklahoma might take a page out of their college basketball team's book and just lose their first SEC game and then flop them all from there.
Yeah. Yeah, again, we've seen it so many times in Oklahoma, so would not be shocking at all. Let's move on to my boys in blue. Really good game, really scared game for me. I know it probably doesn't mean as much to you viewers here, but this is a game where I am very excited to watch, but also very scared to watch. This is number 21 Michigan, my boys in blue at Nebraska. Michigan is a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Over under is 46.5. Now, it's pretty obvious. I take Michigan every single week. I highly advise against that. Michigan hates to cover. Yes, I won last week, my first Michigan bet of the year. But don't follow my prediction on Michigan. I do think Michigan has a decent chance to win this game, but I think this game honestly means more to Nebraska than it does to Michigan. I think Nebraska had this game circled for a while, and so I am nervous about that spot there. But I'm actually going to give you guys a player prop, kind of not going bias here, and it's actually going to be an Oklahoma player prop, Nebraska player prop. And I do know my team. Even though I lose money on them every week, I do know my team. And I know that Dylan Raiola, Fatty Mahomes, is going to get over his passing yards. So that's going to be my player prop in this game. I got it at 214.5. I'm seeing right now it's 220.5. He's going to have at least 250, if not 300 yards. He's really going to dip and dunk the Michigan defense. And just trust me on that one. It's my most confident play. I know my boys in blue. The secondary is very subpar right now. They're probably gonna try to blitz the crap out of him. He's not as mobile as his Messiah and Patty Mahomes, but he is still pretty mobile and definitely can get out of some of those pressures. So I could see him scrambling and getting some decent chunk plays through the air on some broken plays there. So Dylan Raiola passing yards is going to be my prediction and bet for that game. If you're in a state that doesn't have college football betting, then maybe you're in a state that allows sleeper or prize picks or underdog. If you do need a new customer deposit match, make sure you do check out our website, Better Green, for that deposit match there. But Dylan Raiola passing yards, I'm going to lean Michigan as well, but that's, again, extremely biased. Don't follow my Michigan take there. But I'll send it to you, Ethan. What's your Michigan-Nebraska prediction?
Yeah, for starters, I'm going to go back to grade school here. I said a downer about Michigan, so now I owe you two uppers. So first, nice plug with the sports books there. Second, I lean Michigan in this game, but not confident enough to give them out as my play. I'm going to look at under 46.5. So it's going to go a little bit against your Raiola play, but definitely both bets can still end up hitting here. Like I said, I lean Michigan, but my fear is we just talked about Underwood's first road start. Obviously, that was a way tougher start than what we're going to get here, but I'm just not, running to the window to back an unproven quarterback on the road in his second start. Now you have to lay a few points too. Just not something I'm really looking to do, but I'm not really bought into Nebraska. They beat Cincinnati on the road. I'm not bought into Cincinnati, so who knows how good of a win that was. They beat up on Akron, beat up on Houston Christian. Michigan, kind of struggled against New Mexico, but it was never in doubt to get the win there. Obviously, they lost to Oklahoma, beat up on Central Michigan. So I just need to see more from both of these teams, honestly. But I'll take a stab at the under here. When we did see Michigan go against their best opponent, Oklahoma, 13-24. We saw their defense play pretty well. Offensively, weren't able to put up a ton of points. Nebraska against their toughest competition, against Cincinnati, not a great team, but 20-17, low scoring game, more of a defensive battle. So I would look in the first Big Ten action of the year for both teams for the defenses to show up a little bit. Obviously, Underwood, young, might make a couple of mistakes or just have trouble moving the ball. Raiola gets a lot of hype. I think I was more high on Raiola last year. I know you were really down on him. So maybe I'm flipping at the wrong time to being more down on Raiola. But yeah, I just think the defense is shine a little bit in this game. I could see a similar to like that 20-17 score. So under 46.5 is going to be my play for that one.
I will say there is one advantageous thing two advantageous things for Michigan. There's no Sharon Moore. I'm still not a Sharon Moore believer. Biff Poggi, I thought, coached a really good game. Again, it's against Central, but he was out there just saying, hey, we got to get something going here. Let's start running the ball with Bryce. Let's start, doing some deeper pass plays. So think they still got that edge with Biff as the interim head coach. Sharon Moore suspended for this game, as just letting it loose a little bit, not caring as much and not being as conservative as Sharon Moore is. Another good thing I think definitely leans in Michigan's direction. Nebraska's one tough game, which was technically a road game at Cincinnati, but it was played at Arrowhead, which is an absolute joke because that's 100 miles from Nebraska. But Nebraska won that game 20-17. Cincinnati had 69 passing yards in that game and still made it a 3-point game. They had 202 rushing yards. That is 100% advantagegeous for Michigan, which still kind of struggles to pass the ball. And since he could keep it close with 69 passing yards, I mean, that's music to my ears. I mean, Michigan beat Ohio State with right around there, 60, I think it was maybe even the 50s passing yards and beat the national champion last year. So that's super advantageous for Michigan, and it is good to hear. So again, I do lean Michigan, but that is 100% biased. Again, my favorite prop in that game is Dylan Raiola to have a pretty good game on the through the air on passing yards. Let's go to an ugly ass game, and I know we're in agreement for this, and definitely take this bet with caution, even if it is our favorite bet that we're going to talk about or game that we're going to talk about. Please don't unload on it because it's our favorite. We have Florida, good God, at number 4, Miami. Miami is a 7.5-point home favorite, over under 50.5. Send it to you, Ethan. Let me plug my ears real quick, but go ahead.
This one's easy for me. I love Florida plus 7.5. It's disgusting. Probably going to be one of those games where I'm in absolute pain, ripping my hair out all the game, and then they cover, and I go apologize to my girlfriend for screaming and yelling and breaking down the house and tell her, fiance. Yes. Yeah, I had to lock it down before I lost her this football season. So. Yeah, it's one of those where I piss her off because we're not covering. We get the late cover, and it's like, hey, everything turned out to be okay. I apologize for all that. So that's probably how it's going to go here. But it's a very easy play for me on Florida. It's my favorite play, not only that we're talking about, but on the entire board for Saturday. The public loves to look at, Florida, they lost to South Florida 2 weeks ago, and Miami just beat them 49-12. Obviously, Miami's still at home, just over a touchdown. Yeah, they're going to beat the shit out of Florida. Not that easy. Obviously, Florida didn't come back and, I think they did come back with their hair on fire last week, but Lagway with the 5 interceptions really blew their chance at winning that game and I guess kind of covering. But they still lose that game by 10, and they lost the turnover battle 5-1. So, it's misleading. I think everyone is talking about the Lagway picks. Okay, but 4 of the 5 were on 3rd and long. So he was trying to make a play. We used to see Russell Wilson do that all the time where he was throwing, 15 picks a year. But if you looked at him, it was basically, okay, I'm either going to throw a 20-yard bomb to get a first down or we're going to punt anyway. So, it's kind of similar with how Lagway's game went. The 5th one was with 2 minutes left in the game, just trying to make a play, down 10 points. So, yeah, it wasn't great, but I'm not going to fully fault him for all those picks. And yeah, it's just, no one here is going to want to back Florida after losing to South Florida, losing to LSU, seeing Miami just beat the hell out of South Florida as well. I don't think Miami is necessarily a top 5 team in the nation. I think LSU, who is ranked just 1 spot ahead of Miami, is way better than Miami is, and Florida only lost them by 10, even with throwing 5 picks. I'm still, it's weird to say. I was down on Florida coming into the year. Clearly, they've struggled. But I guess I'm not as down on them now as some other people are going to be. Miami, yeah, they have a bye on deck before this, but they do play Florida State next. So it is their 3 straight Florida games with South Florida, and Florida State. Florida State, obviously, it kind of looks like a juggernaut this year. So not that there's much of a look ahead, but, Florida State's probably the bigger game on their schedule. Florida has Texas on deck, which to me says you can't lose this one because that's going to be tough. They also have a bye before that. So, yeah, I like Texas quite a bit, plus 7.5. If you can get above that touchdown, yeah, that's my favorite play on the board.
Florida plus 7.5.
Florida, yeah.
I'm gonna expect, and I'm gonna need some reverse jinx tweets out of you for Florida. If you guys don't follow Ethan, he posts a play, and if if a couple bad things happen, he puts an X on it and says, "Oh, that was a good try." And it's more times than not that team comes back and finds a way. So I'm gonna need some reverse jinx over there on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, it's the ugliest bet on the board. You said it perfectly. Who's back in Florida in this game? And unfortunately, us two jackasses are. So this is my last chance on Florida. No matter, even if the spot looks great for when they play Texas, if they lose this game or if they don't cover this game, I'm done on Florida. But yeah, it's a must. It's not a must bet. It's probably a stay away game is the definition of this game. But it is one of the ugliest spreads and ugliest games on the board. And unfortunately, we take ugly picks. So I'm right there with you. Florida plus 7.5. I'm going to be shooting myself when Miami wins this game, very similar to that South Florida 40 whatever 9-12, and we were super high on Miami that week, and that was a no sweat bet. So we won the Miami bet, but I just think Florida, I think they can maybe win it outright. Yeah, it's ugly, it's gross. I apologize for how gross it is, but if you're going to bet it, it is 100% the right side. But like I said, this is probably the definition of a stay away game. If I was loaded with cash and wasn't trying to make some money back, I'd probably stay off this game, but it's too good of a betting opportunity for me to pass up on Florida. So it's gross. It's ugly. Sorry for being repetitive. I just want to get that over. Stress enough to you guys that it's a disgusting bet, but it has to be Florida.
Yep.
And that brings us to a game I absolutely hate, but it is our third and fifth final game we're going to talk about. That is number 9 Illinois at number 19 Indiana. Still don't believe the hype in Illinois. This is not a top 10 team. I don't think they're going to be ranked at the end of the year. Their chances, if you look on their futures to make the college football playoff, it's like plus 700 still, and they're the 9th team in the country. Makes absolutely no sense. So Vegas knows it. I know it. I know Illinois is extremely overrated. I said the same thing about Indiana last year. They had a cakewalk of a schedule. Yes, they won some decent games. I know they beat Michigan. Michigan sucked last year. And then we see them get into the college football playoff. I know it wasn't from the scoreboard, a blowout game, but they got physically dominated every single second of that game. And I think it was like a 27-7, or I think Indiana scored some late points, but Notre Dame destroyed them in that game, and they had no business being in the playoffs. So I really wish I could fade both teams. Unfortunately, we do have to pick a side here. Indiana is a 6-point favorite now at home. Over-under is 52.5. And I am going to lean the home team here, Indiana. This line opened at 4 on Sunday in Indiana's favor and has been bet up to -6. So again, I think these rankings mean absolutely nothing, but people are going to see a top 10 team as a 6-point dog on the road. And I think they might be a little too quick and eager to jump on that dog. And I just do not think Illinois is going to stay in this game. I wish I could fade both teams. I do not think Indiana is fantastic, but I am going to give them the edge here. And I am unfortunately going to take them on the spread at the -6 against Illinois. How about you?
You might have swayed me a little bit. I'll stick to my guns, but actually I hate it. But I'll throw out Illinois plus the 6, and I'm just going to hope that the line has moved too far at this point. Indiana might win by 4 or whatever, but yeah, I absolutely hate this game. You mentioned the playoffs from last year. I hope whoever wins this game goes on, has a nice another miracle season, makes the playoff, and we can fade the hell out of them in that first game because, yeah, these teams are not that good. I guess my only reason really for leaning Illinois is they saw what could happen to a team that in their kind of situation here with Indiana last year. Indiana obviously trying to hang on to their magical run they had last year and trying to repeat that. But, I think Illinois just probably had this game circled more than what Indiana would have. Yeah, I mean, the line has moved. Obviously, Indiana took sharp money early in the week. Can't fault them for it. I'm just going to hope, I guess, that it's moved just a little too far at this point. So I'll lean Illinois plus 6. Again, 0% chance I bet this game. 0% chance I bet any of the 3 ranked matchups. I absolutely hate all of them. But yeah, I guess I'll lean Illinois for the show, but I hate it. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, again, show record's not fantastic, 7-9, but we both are having a decently profitable season in college football. Again, we do bet multiple games that we don't talk about, but no one wants to hear about a Miami, Ohio versus a UNLV. But for me, I do have a bet in that game if you do want that. So make sure you do check us out on Twitter, both our personal pages, again, at eBainbridge26 and at Worst Bets, where we post all of our official plays. Do you have anything else before we close out college football week 4?
Yeah, I know you're traveling this weekend, but are we still doing live on Saturday morning?
I'll be here on Saturday, yes.
Okay, but no live Sunday.
Correct.
Okay, so we'll be live Saturday to break down really every game on the board. Yeah, I like an ugly one too, Notre Dame, but how's Purdue going to stick within 4 touchdowns? I don't think they do. But yeah, we'll be back Saturday to break down all of the uglier games that are clearly making us a little bit more money than what these big games are.
Yeah, I have a bunch of spots listed up here. Really good spots to bet against teams. I'll give out a couple. Again, I have about 10 written down. I'm not going to give them all. If you do want all these sharper plays or ugly spots for teams, make sure you do check us out. On Saturday, we'll be live like 9:30, 10 Eastern time in the morning to talk about the whole slate. But really bad spot for Ole Miss against Tulane. They're at home. Ole Miss does have LSU on deck. I am going to assume that's going to be the host of College Game Day next week. I love Tulane on the spread there. I think it's a huge look-ahead spot for Ole Miss. Another game that I do like, it is pretty ugly, and we were both on this team last week, and that is Temple, who's playing Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech just had probably their best win in, 4 or 5 years. They just beat Clemson. We saw them take the goalpost down. The goalpost traveled all the way to the frat house pool. Huge emotional win for Georgia Tech. Now they play a Temple team that just got blown out by Oklahoma. So I definitely can see a look-ahead spot, or not a look-ahead, but emotional hangover spot for Georgia Tech where they don't fully give Temple all the attention that they need. So those are 2 games that I really like the spots in for the dogs, and I would definitely be cautious if you do like Georgia Tech or if you do like Ole Miss in those games. Again, maybe not outright money lines, but I would not throw it out the window for a crazy upset to happen in some of these really bad spots for these heavy favorites. But that's all I got. Again, we will be breaking down the entire college football week 4 slate, or majority of the slate on Saturday morning for our live over at YouTube. But until then, guys, anything to add before I leave?
Nope.
Until then, guys, we'll see you on Saturday. We appreciate it. Thank you for the likes, the follows, and the shares. Make sure you do subscribe to our channel over on YouTube, and make sure you do follow our official plays over on Twitter. But until then, guys, we'll see you on Saturday.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to Better Win Green, eh? To Better Win Green, eh? To Better Win Green, eh? Listen in and cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover all spot from the bottom to the top, eh? Shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome, welcome to our podcast, Better Win Green.